Welcome back to the deep dive.
Hey there.
So we're doing something a little bit different today.
Yeah, bit of a change of pace.
Usually, we grab one big thing, a book, a research paper, and we just drill all the way down.
Right to the core.
But today we're looking at the chaotic, messy, incredibly fast-moving reality of the tech landscape.
Which is fitting, because the date on the documents in front of us is February 2026.
Right now.
This is the state of the industry as it stands this very week.
And we're working from this curated weekly newsletter from Andrew Kagan. It's called Random Technical News You Can Possibly Use. And looking at the sheer breadth of it, I mean, Azure infrastructure to quantum computing, random feels right, but possibly use feels like a massive understatement.
Oh, it's definitely tongue-in-cheek.
You think so?
For sure. Because when you lay out these 8 areas, Azure, M365, data, DevOps, all of it, it stops looking random pretty fast. It starts to look like a map.
Okay.
And frankly, the map is showing some treacherous terrain.
It really feels like we're in this weird moment of contradiction.
How so?
Well, on one hand, you've got this explosion of things like vibe coding, which we have to get to,
Oh, we will.
and agentic AI doing everything for us. But then you flip to the security section and you see Microsoft like ruthlessly killing off 30-year-old protocol.
Right, just taking out the trash.
Exactly. What is that about?
That's the defining tension of early 2026. We are trying to build this, futuristic, self-healing, agent-driven skyscraper. But we're realizing the concrete foundation we poured back in the 90s is just full of cracks
So you have to patch the foundation while you're building the penthouse.
at the exact same time.
Yeah. That just sounds like a recipe for disaster, or at least a lot of overtime.
Yeah.
We've got a lot to cover. I mean, why are junior developers suddenly getting left behind in this AI golden age? And why is the whole industry suddenly obsessed with agency instead of just automation?
Big questions.
But let's start where the newsletter starts, the Cloud Foundation. Let's talk Azure.
Specifically, the Azure State of the Union 2026.
Now, usually these updates are just, a laundry list of new features. We added a new button.
Right.
But there's a security update in here from January 30th that you said was critical. It's called Improved Enforcement for Policies with Resource Exclusions in Conditional Access.
It sounds incredibly boring, doesn't it?
It sounds like the kind of thing I scroll right past to get to the cool AI stuff. Why does this matter so much?
Because it's the hole in the boat.
Okay.
Think of conditional access as, like, the bouncer at the club. It checks your ID, your location, makes sure you're not on a banned list before it lets you in.
Right. Standard security hygiene.
Exactly. But every admin in every system creates exclusions. The VIP list. Or, maybe more accurately, the vendor delivery entrance. You might say, don't enforce multi-factor on this old printer because it can't handle it, or exclude this one admin script because the security check breaks it.
And I'm guessing those exclusions, they just pile up over time.
They pile up and they get forgotten. And the hackers know this. They're not trying to kick down the reinforced front door.
No, they're walking around back to jiggle the handle on the exclusion list.
Precisely. So this update from Microsoft is them basically saying, we are done letting you leave the side door unlocked just because it's convenient. It's a huge deal.
So it's a real shift from security as a policy to security as, like, a hard enforcement.
That's it. And this ties right into the other note here about ACA Azure Container Apps.
Okay.
As we move more towards serverless, you don't even manage the operating system anymore. So your security policy or a firewall. If that policy has loopholes, you have no defense.
That makes sense. Okay, so moving up the stack a bit from the plumbing to the actual tools people use every day. Microsoft 365.
And Copilot.
The newsletter highlights the January updates for Copilot, but specifically for developers using SPFX.
The SharePoint framework.
Hang on, I've got to stop you.
Oh.
STFX, SharePoint Framework. My brain immediately goes to, like, clunky corporate intranets from 2010.
I get that. I really do.
Is that still a thing in 2026?
It's actually bigger than ever. But you have to sort of shift your thinking. It's not the intranet anymore.
Okay, so what is it?
It's the standard way you build custom apps inside Microsoft Teams or Viva or SharePoint. That little app your company has in Teams for booking a hot desk.
Yeah.
That's almost certainly SPFX.
So it's the delivery mechanism for all those custom enterprise apps.
Correct. And the big news here is you can now use the Microsoft 365 Copilot APIs directly inside those apps.
What does that actually look like in practice? Are we just adding a chat window to the app?
See, that's the old way of thinking. That's the chatbot era. This is different. This lets the application itself be intelligent. Think about that request time off widget. Before, it was a dumb form. You picked your dates, you hit submit.
Hoped for the best.
Right. If the whole team was already out, it would just get rejected by your manager a day later. Super frustrating.
Been there.
With these Copilot APIs embedded, you open the widget, and it might say, hey, I see you're looking at May. Just a heads up, 3 other engineers are out that week, which violates the coverage policy. But the following week is wide open. It reasons over the data, the calendars, the HR docs, everything before you even click a button.
So it's not me asking the AI a question. It's that the interface itself is just smart.
It bridges the gap between just generative AI and actual workflow, which, by the way, connects perfectly to the biggest theme in this entire newsletter.
Which is?
The shift from automation to agency.
Let's get into that. Segment 2, the agentic shift. I feel like agent is the buzzword of the year.
It is, but I think for a good reason.
Okay, but help me distinguish it. We've had automation scripts for 20 years. If I write a script that deletes old files every Friday, isn't that an agent?
No, that's automation.
Yeah.
Automation is just a recipe. You tell the machine, step 1, step 2, step 3. If step 2 fails because a file is locked.
The script crashes and I get an angry email.
Exactly. It sends you an error log. Agency is giving the machine a goal.
The goal.
You tell the agent, ensure we always have 20% free disk space. The agent looks at the drive. It tries to delete old files. If a file is locked, it doesn't crash.
What does it do?
It figures out why it's locked. Maybe it kills the process that's holding it, or it decides to compress other files instead. It finds another way to meet the goal. It remediates.
That sounds incredibly useful, but also a little terrifying. We're giving software permission to just kill processes without asking us.
That is the tension. Look at this headline from Dynatrace. Beyond automation, Dynatrace unveils agentic AI that fixes problems on its own.
Fixes problems on its own. Yeah, that's the part that's both cool and scary.
It completely changes the job for the people running these systems, the SREs, the site reliability engineers.
Right.
Traditionally, an SRE is a high-tech firefighter. Pager goes off at 3 a.m., server's down, they wake up, they read logs, they fix it.
And with agentic AI.
The agent fixes it at 3 a.m. The SRE gets to sleep. But, and this is a huge bite, the SRE's job now becomes the fire marshal.
Oh, I like that.
Their job isn't to fight the fire. It's to audit the agent, to inspect the sprinkler system to make sure it won't accidentally flood the entire data center.
So the human moves out of the loop of doing the work and into the loop of overseeing the worker.
Precisely. But for these agents to make good decisions, they need data. And they need it to be really, really fast.
Which brings us to the Power Platform section here. There's a very technical deep dive mentioned. Composite semantic models with Direct Lake.
This is the plumbing that makes all that magic possible.
Okay, break it down for me. I know Power BI is charts and graphs, but what is Direct Lake?
So with data analytics, you usually have this painful trade-off.
Okay.
Option A is import mode. You copy all your data into Power BI. It's super fast to click around, but the data is stale. It's a snapshot.
And option B
is direct query. You don't copy the data, you query the live database. The data is fresh, but it's slow. Every time you click a filter, you're waiting.
So you get fast and old or fresh and slow. Not great choices.
Not at all. Direct Lake is the third way. It lets the Power BI engine, using its formula language, DAX read data files directly from cloud storage from one lake.
Without moving it.
Without moving it, but it reads it at the speed of import mode.
So you get real-time data performance without the lag.
That's the holy grail. And this is critical for our agent discussion because if your AI agent is making business decisions, it can't be looking at last week's data. And it can't be waiting 20 seconds for a query to run. It needs direct lake speed.
It's fascinating how these really dry infrastructure updates are actually the prerequisites for all the cool sci-fi stuff.
Always are.
Speaking of concepts, let's talk data strategy. There is an article here that claims to debunk a major myth. Prompting versus RAV versus fine-tuning, why it's not a ladder.
Oh, this one is so important. I see this misconception in boardrooms all the time.
This idea that there's a maturity curve. You know, you start by crawling with prompting, then you walk with RAG, and then you finally run with fine-tuning.
Yes. The video game level mentality. Executives think fine-tuning is the boss level you have to beat to be a real AI company.
But that's not right.
It's not right at all. The source here argues, correctly, that they are just different tools for different jobs.
A toolbox, not a ladder.
Exactly. You use RAG retrieval augmented generation when you need the AI to know facts it wasn't trained on. Your company's internal HR policy, for instance.
Okay. And fine-tuning.
You use fine-tuning when you need to change the behavior or the voice of the model. If you want an AI to speak like a pirate, you fine-tune. You want it to know what your quarterly sales figures are, you use RAGgy.
What happens if you try to fine-tune a model on your sales figures?
You burn a massive pile of money, and the model probably still hallucinates the details. It's like trying to teach a dog calculus by just shouting the answers at it.
Just buy the dog a calculator.
RA is the calculator.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. Before we leave data, I saw a term in the glossary, A2UI, agent-to-user interface. It's coming out of Google.
This is all about solving the wall of text problem.
Right. If I ask my agent to, I don't know, find me a flight, I don't want a 500-word essay about United Airlines.
Nobody does. A2UI is a standard where the agent doesn't just send back text. It generates a structured description of a user interface in JSON code. Your device gets that code and instantly renders a native button or a flight selection card.
So the agent is basically being a front-end developer on the fly.
Yes. It means the chat interface is about to get a lot richer. It won't just be bubbles of text. It'll be dynamic applications building themselves as you talk.
That sounds incredible, but, and there's always a but in 2026.
Absolutely.
More code, more agents, more complexity. We have to look at the dark side. Segment 4, security.
The scary news section.
And it is. We've got OpenClaw AI runs wild and Notepad++ hijacked by state-sponsored hackers. That Notepad++ one just, it hits hard. Everybody uses that tool.
It's a classic supply chain attack. If you can compromise the tool that developers use to write the
code itself.
Exactly. You compromise everything they build downstream. It's efficient, it's evil, and it's very hard to detect.
But the big story here, the one that really forces us to look at our legacy debt, is the NTLM phase-out.
Oh, yeah.
Microsoft begins NTLM phase-out with 3-stage plan to move Windows to Kerberos.
This is monumental. NTLM is a protocol from the early 90s. In tech years, it's a dinosaur. It belongs in a museum, not a corporate network.
So why has it survived this long if it's so old?
Backwards compatibility. Old printers, legacy applications, ancient servers, they all speak NTLM. But the problem is, the way it works is just fundamentally broken by modern standards.
Broken now.
It's vulnerable to relay attacks, where someone can just grab the handshake and use it somewhere else. But even worse, having NTLM around makes a network much weaker against something called Kerberoasting.
Okay, you have to unpack Kerberoasting. That sounds like a campfire activity.
That's not that fun, though.
I'm guessing it involves stealing credentials?
You got it. In a Windows network, attackers can request an encrypted ticket for a service account. If the encryption is weak, they can take that ticket offline to their own powerful computers and just crack the password.
And once they have that password,
they often have the keys to the kingdom. And NTLM is often the weak link that lets them get started. By killing NTLM and forcing everyone onto Kerberos, Microsoft is raising the baseline security for everyone. They're basically saying, we can't protect you if you insist on using a lock from 1993.
It's going to be a painful migration, though.
Incredibly painful. Things will absolutely break. But with AI agents like this OpenClaw thing automating attacks, we really don't have a choice anymore.
And that brings us to our final, and I think most provocative segment, the human element. We've talked about the tech, but what about the people? There's an article here titled, "The AI Coding Revolution: Why Senior Developers Are Winning While Juniors Get Left Behind."
This is the paradox of 2026, isn't it?
Sure.
2 years ago, the whole narrative was AI will level the playing field.
Everyone thought junior devs would use Copilot to perform like seniors.
But the opposite is happening. The gap is widening.
Why?
Because AI is a multiplier for expertise, but it's a crutch for inexperience. A senior developer uses Copilot as an editor. They get the code, they spot the subtle bug, they fix the security flaw, and they move on. They save time.
And the junior dev?
The junior dev asks the AI for code, pastes it in, and sees that it runs. But they don't understand why it runs. They don't see that NTLM vulnerability we just talked about. They don't see the memory leak.
They're becoming copy-paste engineers. They aren't building the mental models you need to actually understand the system.
Exactly. And this leads us right to that term you mentioned at the top of the show, vibe coding.
Vibe coding. It sounds so chill. Just vibe coding, man.
The newsletter defines it as using AI to prioritize experimentation and creative flow over meticulous code structure.
Which, you know, sounds great for a hackathon. Don't worry about the syntax. I'm just focused on the big idea.
For a prototype, sure. But the newsletter includes a really heavy critique. It warns that vibe coding is not yet considered reliable for building serious production-ready software.
This is what worries me. If we have a whole generation of junior developers vibe coding their way through projects, aren't we just building a mountain of technical debt for the future?
We are. Vibe coding is essentially saying, I don't care about the engineering, I just want the result. But as we saw with the NTLM removal, the engineering matters.
Oh, my.
If you vibe code a banking app and you don't understand the underlying security protocols, you are going to get hacked. Plain and simple.
So the senior developers are the ones who have to come in and clean up the vibes later on.
And they're getting burned out doing it. We're seeing this split emerge. The architects who understand the machine and the prompters who just feed the machine.
Wow. We also have a quick nod here to Google's 5 AI agent trends, which reinforces everything we just said, and D-Wave hitting a milestone in quantum computing.
10 times faster quantum solutions for defense. It's just a reminder that while we're arguing about vibe coding, the raw computational power out there is scaling exponentially for everyone.
So let's bring this all together. February 2026. What is the vibe of the industry right now?
I think the vibe is sobering up. The party phase of, look what ChatGPT can do, is over. Now we're in the deployment phase.
The hangover phase.
Kind of.
Sure.
We are deploying agents that touch production data. We're deploying code written by AI. And we are realizing that our safety rails, our old protocols, our monitoring tools, even our own skills aren't quite ready for the speed we're moving at.
We're upgrading the engine to a warp drive, but we're still driving a chassis with rust on it.
And we have to fix the rust while moving at warp speed.
No pressure.
Not at all.
I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought today. We talked about vibe coding versus engineering. The next time you're working on a project, ask yourself, are you letting the tool do the thinking for you? Because the AI can give you the code, but it can't give you the accountability. That's still 100% on you.
That's the lesson of 2026. Agency requires responsibility.
Check out Andrew Kagan's full newsletter for links to all this stuff, especially that NTLM migration plan. You're probably going to need it. Stay curious, everyone.
And stay secure.
See you in the next deep dive.